Hello, my name's Corey Stevens. This is another episode of what I like to call Gun Talk. I'm going to kind of do a review on a gun, and I'm going to kind of give you some of my opinions on the cartridge of the gun and other things as well. When it comes to guns, I think people should have an open mind, be open to brands. However, I want to talk about the SID p226, which is empty. Notice how I picked it up, the slide lock was locked back, which, by the way, I think is the most professional way if you want to hand your buddy a gun. You know, if you're showing your friends and you want to hand them something, lock that slide back, and that's how you should pass a gun off. It shows the whole room that the gun's empty. So first thing I'm going to do is actually talk about this weapon, the SID P226, which has been used by the Navy SEALs. This honestly, and I'm not even the biggest fan of 9 mil. I'm not all about it. I have a 9 mil. I like them. Not necessarily my favorite cartridge. However, I am a fan of hammer fired weapon systems. I really am versus striker. I think you get a lot of benefits, and I'm going to talk about that specifically with this weapon. Um, okay, let's start here. The way I carry this weapon, because I'm a security guard, I actually do not own this weapon, unfortunately. This is one that is issued to me. Now, how I carry this weapon, if you notice on the side, it has a decocker. So basically, magazine is empty. You would put your mag in, and then basically rack one in the chamber, and then that decocker on the side, you're going to swipe that down. And that's going to, this weapon is ready to fire. There's no safety on this weapon. Your safety system on this weapon is the fact that you start off with a double action trigger. That is your safety feature on this weapon. So your first pull will be double action, and then after that, you'll be in single action. So basically, and that's how you put it in the holster. You do that, you decock it, you put it in the holster. That's really one thing I do like about this gun. When I was talking about hammer fired, I like the fact after that first pull, you really got a smooth and very light single action with this gun. This gun is very accurate to shoot. It already has night sights on it, so that's also another benefit. I can see why the Navy SEALs use this weapon. I actually seen a video. If you ever watch Chad Wright, he's a Navy SEAL, and he talks about literally, saltwater missions and beating this gun with a 4x4 post during training. And I absolutely believe what he's saying because this gun is just like a brick. It's made out of all metal. Even the magazine, this is metal mag, you know very durable weapon, very, very heavy duty. I mean, it really feels like a tool. It's got nice weight to it. And I have to say, with the ergonomics on the weapon, I mean, for me personally, I think the ergonomics are they're damn near perfect. And that's just my opinion. Some people may differ. Some people may not like having hammer fired because of that first pull being double action you know. So some people may not like that feature about the gun. By the way, too, I talked about press checks. Notice something on this weapon. You can't do a press check. You're going to engage that hammer. So you should get to a point to where you know the conditions of your weapons. And the conditions of your weapons should be ready to fire. But another thing too, capacity. This is a 15+1 magazine. Something else I like about the Mad too, it's got this little lip there. So if you got it in, your Mad lost that. Um, if you wanted to with the support hand, you could actually hook your pinky and pull that, pull that mag out. But the magazine comes out pretty good anyway, so you really don't need to. Yeah, 15+1 capacity with this weapon. In my opinion, if you're going to buy a 9mm, you shouldn't. I wouldn't buy a 9mm with less than a 12 round capacity because it just completely defeats the purpose. The purpose of 9mm was to have more capacity. We used to use the 45 in the military. And the reason we stopped using 45 ACP in the military is because of the fact that 9mm has more capacity. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong about that, but from what I've read, we went from the 1911 to the Beretta because the Beretta had 15 plus 1, versus the 1911 having a lower capacity. If I'm going to buy a gun with less than 12, even 10 rounds, less than 10 rounds, I'm buying a 45. Or I'm going to even consider buying a revolver, to be honest with you. The only reason I buy a 9mm is for the fact that I have a high capacity with the caliber. Uh, Lower recoil, sure, but see, here's the thing again. People buy these micro pistols that are in 9mm, and they talk about them being snappy. You know, personally, heavy recoil doesn't bother me. I know how to mitigate it pretty well, but at the same time, I mean, when you have a small weapon, you are going to have more recoil, and it could affect your accuracy with the follow-up shot. So, really think about when you're buying guns, think about what you're buying because, there's other options. There's always another option. I'll give you an example. This gun online goes for about $1,200, you know, which I think would be justified in the purchase. However, for that price, I could also buy a rifle. I could buy a 44 mag. There's so many other guns I could buy versus this 9mm. But this is a great weapon. It really is. The only negative I see about the gun, I'm not really 100% a fan now of the decocker. You know, I've concealed carry full size pistols. I don't think I would conceal carry this pistol because of just, how big, and I'm going to get to the slide lock in a minute, but just with all this different stuff on the side, I specifically would say this is a duty weapon, which is a damn good duty weapon. I would take it over the Glock 17. I really would. I had the option for the Glock 17, and I went for the p226. There's a reason I went for this weapon. Yeah, that's pretty much with that. I think if you're going to buy a 9mm, you should definitely get a higher capacity. Another feature about this gun that I think separates from the competition, and it's pretty amazing, the slide lock. Slide lock is engaged. This thing is it's amazing. It's really just it's like having a button on the side. I mean, it's really that easy to push down the slide lock. I mean, if you even look at it, it sticks out more than, other ones that are kind of in there. Yeah, I have to say, I mean, out of a lot of the 9mm that I've held and shot and, handled, this is one of the best slide locks. As silly as that sounds, one of the best slide locks I think I've felt in a gun. And why is that important? Well, if you're having to reload and you put in your next mag, versus having to transition your hand from here to here or however you train. Some people go up front. I personally like here to here. You got a quick transition, but you take out that process with having that good of a slide lock. I also use slide locks on other guns. Don't get me wrong, I use slide lock on Glock. A lot of handling guns is muscle memory. That's all it is, if you really think about it. Muscle memory is damn near everything with handling a firearm. So I kind of pick between the two. I do this and quick transition, or here, and I'll actually hit that slide lock, and my support hand is already there. I'm trying to do it as slow as mag in, slide lock. support hand is already in place. Everything is already lined up. So the SID P226, I definitely recommend. If you were considering this weapon, go for it. Honestly, you might not conceal carry it, but I would say go for it. You know, and I may be wrong. I may get comments on here that people go, I conceal carry that weapon. I think would be kind of crazy. I mean, it's heavy and it's a pretty big weapon, and I carry a full size 1911, but I don't know. Honestly. So, but think about what I'm saying about 9 mils too. As far as capacity, before you go buy, I've seen people buy 8 round 9 mils. It's like, why? Why would you buy that? You should have bought a 45, or you should have bought a 357. You know, why would you buy an 8 round 9 mil? That's just my honest opinion, and people may disagree with that, and that's fine. I'm not saying it doesn't do the job, but that's just personal preference, I guess. Um, so yeah, that is kind of a mixture of a video. I would say my review of the P226, and also just talk about caliber in general. Thanks, guys. Have a blessed one.